So what we're going to be doing today is a daytime look that can be quickly transformed into an evening look with the addition of a few extra products. So I'm going to demonstrate on Stephanie, who is a soft, warm, deep. Is that right? Yes. With the appropriate colours, and then we're just going to add those extra couple of colours to make that into an even look. I'm going to start with the foundations, the Morning Light foundation, which is a lovely flattering foundation. So we'll start with our foundation. I go with a brush, but you can use whatever you want. You can use sponge, brush, fingers. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's what works for you. I find a brush great because it doesn't eat as much product as a sponge does. Sometimes you can get through a lot of your product because a lot of it is absorbed into the sponge. So I find this quite an economical way of using my product. So just brushing over the entire face. I'd go down with my brush or my sponge because, you know, quite often there's very fine hair on the face, and if you brush it up, you're going to sort of fluff that up, so it's much more flattering to go down, work right around the nose, over the eyelids. Also, sometimes I get asked about concealer and foundation, what comes first, what comes second. I'd always go with foundation first because foundation is going to cover some of the minor imperfections anyway. So once you've got your foundation, you might find you don't really need as much concealer because a lot of things have been glossed over and minimised already. So Stephanie's got great skin, so we don't need lots and lots of foundation. I'm just going to move your head, that's great. Oops, move your hairs there. There we go. Just make sure you're going down into the neck. But what I did when I was choosing Stephanie's foundation is we were deciding between two shades, two stripes here, the one who I thought it was, and instantly you can pretty much see which colour is going to go in, you know, if there's going to be a difference between the neck and the face colour. So yeah, just two finger stripes like that, decide which one you want and then take away, and then you can start over. But I do find that's the best place to test, because here sometimes, you know, if you've got a mixture of skin tones over the face, redness here, it doesn't always give you a clear indication of whether you're going to get that tied line around the neck. And I would always just slightly take some foundation just down there, just to make sure there's no lines and it's all seamlessly blended in. Okay, so moving on to concealer. So as we said, Stephanie's got great skin, so we've just glossed over the foundation. So we're going to place a little bit of concealer just where we now can see we still need the concealer. So generally most people would need concealer in these places I'm going to place. So around the bone of the eye, where this is all the areas where shadow naturally falls on the face. So around the nose here and the chin, even if there's no blemishes on the skin, this generally flatters the face, evens out the skin tone, and so it just takes the shadows from those contoured areas away. And then if you just tap, rather than rub, if you rub, you're going to move this concealer from the area it's needed to this area of the eye where it's going to, you know, fall into any fine lines. So just use the heat of your finger and just gently tap this concealer in until it's blended away. And then it's staying in the place you've put it, but just using the heat of your finger to, say, dissolve it into the skin so it's undetectable. And same, if there's any blemishes on the skin, use the same technique, pat it in rather than rub it in. So just do the other side and just look right up for me, Stephanie, that's great. And also if you've got somebody can hold their eye steady, you can just brush it right along the rim of the eye there as well to take away any redness. I'll just do that on the eye as well. That was an early start. That's right. Everybody, even when we do shoots with child models, they have concealer under their eyes. Just close your eyes for me, and also just here, if you want to get rid of any little shadows in the corner here. And then if you just look up for me again, Stephanie, that's it, there we go. So it's very gently, the skin around the eye is very sensitive and thin, so whatever you can use little sponge wedges actually as well. Just use the patting motion again, and then say a little bit of the heat of your finger as well. Any areas of high colour, you can take a little bit of the colour down from the skin if you've got a bit of redness. Might just do a little bit here and here, just to take it down. There we go. Okay. So the skin still looks really natural, but we've just removed any little shadowed areas, just evened out and given the skin a nice glow with the foundation and the concealer. So I'm going to set that now. I get a lot of people that are really frightened of powder and don't want to use it, but I think it's really important to use a pressed or a loose powder to set the makeup, because it will keep it on throughout the day. If people are really frightened of powder, then use a really minimal application technique. Generally, where you tend to get, if people are having photographs taken, you tend to get shine on the centre of the face. So just here, down the nose, and that's not, this area, these are flat areas, they're not the areas that have, lots of fine lines on most people. So that's the areas you really want to mattify. Just here sometimes picks up a little bit of shine. And then under the eye, which is where people are really not so keen on using powder, use a lighter application technique, a brush, take the excess off on your hand, because you only need a very small amount of powder to set this makeup. You don't need loads and loads of powder. It's like that. It's kind of like building. It's like rough and smooth. The two set each other together. So if you can, with eyeshadows and blushes and stuff, if you're trying to create long-lasting looks, if you use the two products, they will gel together and give you a longer-lasting formula. And also, even what can look quite powdery to start with, in 20 minutes time when you've done the rest of the makeup, your face will have absorbed a lot of the product as your face will heat up. So if it does look a little bit powdery, you think, oh, I might have gone a bit over there, wait until the end of the makeup, see how much has sunk in, and then use a dry sponge, a dry clean sponge, brilliant to take away excess powder. A dry brush, you can just knock off excess powder. Or if you really feel, oh, I've really gone a bit heavy-handed around the eye, I can see it, like a damp, definitely damp, not wet, but cotton wool pad will be brilliant, and you just like, I'll do it with oh, here's some. Again, that kind of rolling motion, rather than wiping. So this, if this was very slightly damp, that will just take it down for you. Anywhere you feel like you've put too much powder, you can just knock a bit back. But say it's a really important step not to miss, because it does just set the makeup for you and give you a much more sort of polished finish. Now the skin looks really beautifully, not sort of dull, but just mattified and polished. So I'll put a tiny bit up here. And just look right up again for me, Stephanie, that's great.